Welcome to another episode of Aussie Box Office Charts. I'm your host, Alan Gamble, and without further ado, let's get into this week. Week 12 of 2025 saw the release of Snow White, Disney's Snow White, the latest live-action remake. In top position, we saw Disney's Snow White, predictably taking top spot, but not by as much as they would have liked. We'll go more into that a little bit later on in the show. But top spot with $2.8 million for a current total of just over $3 million. In second, we have Mikey 17 with $730,000 in its third week of release, a 40% drop for a current total of $4.7 million. Steven Soderbergh's Black Bag in at third spot with another $676,000, a 26% hold in week 2, which is great. It means good word of mouth, and you should go see that. It's a really good movie. For a current total of $1.9 million. In fourth, Bridget Jones' Mad About the Boy holds around with another $500,000 after 6 weeks of release, a 34% drop for a current total of $15.5 million. And in fifth spot, Captain America Brave New World with another $330,000 after 6 weeks of release, another 40% drop for a current total of $13.4 million. Moving along to 6 through 10, and at number 6, we have Flow, the Latvian Animation Academy Award-winning movie with $177,000 for a current total of $400,000. That would have come from the festival circuit from last year. In seventh, we have the new entry of Locked with $171,000. At number 8, we have the new entry of the Alto Knights with $148,000, the new Robert De Niro flick. In number 9, we have Nizar 2 with $102,000. After 6 weeks of release, another 41% drop for a current total of $7.3 million. And holding at number 10, through its teeth for one last week, A Complete Unknown with $88,000. After 9 weeks of release, another 32% drop for a current total of $8.3 million. Alright, unfortunately for Disney, it's time to take a look at the Disney Live Action Remake's opening weekend box office for Australia. With something as prolific and well-known as Snow White, I'm sure Disney had reasonably high expectations for it, in line with things like Beauty and the Beast, Alice in Wonderland, Aladdin, its big heavy hitters. What we got was not that, unfortunately. We got something in line with Dumbo, Christopher Robin, and Pete's Dragon. Not the most iconic of Disney characters. But if we go looking back all the way into 2010 with Alice in Wonderland, opened to $10.3 million. These numbers are unadjusted for inflation. Then we had Maleficent in 2014 with $3.9 million. Cinderella from 2015 with $4.3 million. The Jungle Book at $3.7 million from 2016. These are all slightly higher than Snow White from 2014, 2015, and 2016, unadjusted for inflation. Alice Through the Looking Glass in 2016 brought in $2.9 million. Pete's Dragon from 2016, one of the lowest performing Disney remake, opened to $992,000. Beauty and the Beast in 2017 opened to $13.1 million. Christopher Robin then in 2018 opened to $1.4 million. Maleficent 2, Mistress of Evil in 2019 opened to $2.5 million. The Lion King did incredible numbers, opening in the Australian box office to $20.5 million, unadjusted for inflation too. And then Aladdin followed suit later in 2019 with $7.5 million. Another one in 2019, Dumbo at $2.7 million. Cruella opened in 2021 to $1.4 million. The Little Mermaid, even though it was fairly panned critically, still opened to $5.6 million. And just last December, Mufasa the Lion King opened to $4.1 million. Now, if we adjust those numbers for inflation, we get something that looks a little bit like this. And adjusted for inflation, without adjusting for inflation, Snow White was the 6th lowest opening for Disney Live Action Remake. Adjusted for inflation, it's the fourth lowest, ahead of only Christopher Robin, Cruella, and Pete's Dragon. So you can see where Disney maybe wanted something of this stature to end up around that. I would say at least the high $4 to low $5 million, similar to The Little Mermaid from a couple of years ago. I think something as well known as Snow White would have been expected to be around there. Maybe not doing Beauty and the Beast numbers or Alice in Wonderland numbers, and certainly not the Lion King numbers, but certainly not where it is right now. We will watch to see how it continues to track, as if Mufasa the Lion King is anything to go by, Disney movies do have a habit of legging out. Whether it can leg out enough to save this movie, we'll soon find out. And while we're looking at breakdowns, just a little quick update on the MCU and Captain America Brave New World. It has finally, in the Australian box office, passed Black Widow at $13.25 million, with its $13.48 million. It's closing the gap on the Eternals, but at $14.9 million, I'm not sure it's going to get there, since it seems to be running out of steam pretty fast, and new movies are going to start releasing as of next week. But a quick update, it's not looking good for Captain America still. A quick update to a chart we don't get to update all the time. Maybe we will more as the year progresses. The summer movie season, our winter. The top 5 wide opening releases of 2025. Still stays the same through most of it, with Captain America opening at $5.3 million in top spot. At number 2 was Bridget Jones' Mad About the Boys opening at $4.4 million. In number 3, Paddington in Peru with its January 1st opening of $2.9 million. The new entry of Disney's Snow White opening with $2.8 million. That bumps Nizar 2 down with its opening of $2.3 million. So no massive openings this year so far still. I'm sure we're hoping for a bit of a bump with next week with Minecraft and a few other big names, especially moving into April and May. So we'll see how we go. Moving right along to the 2025 top 10 for the Australian box office. Not too many changes this week, but we'll see what it's doing. Paddington in Peru still holds top spot at $17.7 million. Bridget Jones' Mad About the Boy holds second spot with $15.5 million. Captain America Brave New World holds third spot with $13.4 million. You can see they've gapped out a part from 15.5 to 13.4, where they weren't right neck and neck before. A Complete Unknown does move up a slot to $8.3 million, knocking Conclave down to fifth spot with its $8.2 million. Nosferatu holds 6th with just over $8 million. And Nizar 2 holds 7th spot with $7.3 million. At number 8, We Live in Time holds with $6.7 million. Mikey 17 holds 9th spot with $4.7 million. And Baby Girl holds out 10th spot with $3.4 million. I expect this chart to change a little bit by next week. Taking a look at what's coming up this week with new releases. Theatrically wide, on the 27th of March, we have A Working Man from director David Ayer, who gave us the Oscar-winning movie Suicide Squad from 2016. I'll still never forgive that. But he has given us some good things as well over the years, like Fury from 2014, End of Watch from 2012, and last year's The Beekeeper. This one is based on the book by Chuck Dixon, and the screenplay is written by Sylvester Stallone. This one is also starring Jason Statham again, David Harbour, and Michael Pena. In limited releases this week, March 27th, we have Impuran, or L2 Impuran, a Malayalam language action crime thriller from India with a 2-hour 59-minute runtime, so if this is your jam, buckle up for that one. My Love Will Make You Disappear, a Tagalog language romantic comedy out of the Philippines. We have Viradira Suran Part 2, a Tamil language film from India. This one looks like more of a crime thriller side of things. And lastly, we have Robin Hood, a Telugu language film also out of India. Over on streaming platforms, not a huge week, but there is a few things dropping this week. March 26th sees the premiere of The Studio on Apple TV Plus, starring Seth Rogen, Catherine O'Hara, and Catherine Hahn, about a newly appointed head of a movie studio and his executive team trying to manage all the creative personalities that they work with. Could be interesting. We have on March 27th, Holland on Amazon, starring Nicole Kidman, Gael Garcia Bernal, and Rachel Seno, about a teacher that falls into a twisted tale when she and her colleague become suspicious of a local secret. And also on March 27th, Bosch Legacy returns with its third and final season over on Amazon also, a Legacy sequel series following on from the 2015 series of the same name. Alright, it's time to check in with what I watched for this week's Cinechums Movie Challenge, this week's theme of maths. First up was Marguerite's Theorem from 2023, directed by Anna Novian, starring Ella Rump. For challenge eligibility, it was about a mathematics student who makes a massive mistake during her thesis presentation, forcing her to reevaluate her life and get out of her comfort zone outside of the education environment. It was alright. I didn't click with some of the characters or their motivations, but it wasn't terrible. Next was Zero Fox Given from 2022, directed by Emmanuel Moir and Julie Lecuste, starring Adele Exopoulos and Mara Tarquin. For challenge eligibility, I went with Zero in the title, Zero being a fascinating mathematical creation that made a lot of things possible that weren't before. A really good movie, especially if you enjoy movies that give a peek into the ground level of different occupations and lifestyles. Similar in that aspect to the recent Honora, as it was with Sex Workers. Another movie with Adele Exopoulos giving an incredible performance with being able to just emote with the slightest look in her eyes. Incredible. Moving on was 2021's Black's Box, another French film. This one directed by Yann Gozlan and starring Pierre Nini, from one of my favourite movies of last year, The Count of Monte Cristo. For challenge eligibility, black box is a term that is used in maths, but it was a really good movie. Part air crash investigation, part political thriller. If that sounds like your jam, this one might be one for you. Following on was Godzilla -1 minus Color from my 4K Blu-ray collector's box that I had not had a chance to watch yet. The -1 minus Color being the black and white version that was released in 2024 that didn't get a theatrical release in Australia. For challenge eligibility, obviously it has minus in the title, so not too much to say about that. There's not too much to say about this movie. This movie goes hard and is not just a great Godzilla movie, it's just a great movie in general. It's one of the only Godzilla movies that has made me care about the humans on screen. And if you've not seen it, you really should. But based on how many people seems to have watched it this week, I think everyone's on the same page here. Next up was Shithouse from 2020, directed by Cooper Raiff and starring Cooper Raiff and Dylan Galua. And for challenge eligibility, the poster and marketing material for this movie used a percentage symbol to get around being a curse word. I really enjoyed this movie, and to sell it, if you're interested, this was kind of like Before Sunrise for people that related more with going out drinking, college parties, that type of lifestyle, as opposed to traveling through Europe and meeting strangers on a train. Although, granted, this one took place over several days as opposed to just the one single day. Really funny, but with a lot of heart and a lot of feels and a lot of great character work. And also the second Dylan Galua movie I've watched in as many weeks, and she kills it once again. Really great stuff from her. Lastly was I Can't Think Straight from 2008 from writer-director Shamin Sharif. And for challenge eligibility, straight being an important mathematical ingredient with a lot of shapes. This one had some good ideas and some good writing, but I felt like the whole movie, at least the version I watched was ADR'd the entire movie, or it was dubbed in English. I had to keep checking to see if this movie was originally filmed in another language, but it wasn't. It was just very badly worked post. So it was a little bit rough, but we can't have all hits. And there was some good writing there, so I'm going to check out some other movies from the writer-director to see what else they can deliver. Taking a look at this week's upcoming Cinechums movie challenge is about birds, where we have birds in the titles, like Birdman, The Nightingale, or Black Hawk Down. We have birds in the plot, such as The Big Year, or Birdman of Alcatraz, or The Boy and the Heron. Or fun bird connections, like The Last Showgirls and its outfit, or Sunshine and its ship named the Icarus. We also have actors with bird names, so Ethan or Maya Hawke, Robin Wright, etc. There's a few examples like Bird of Prey, Bird Box, Black Hawk Down, Black Swan, Flight of the Phoenix, March of the Penguins, etc. But let's take a look at my shortlist. I have things like Silver Haze, based on the Hazel Grouse, Egghead and Twinkie, Batman and Robin, Howard the Duck, Birdemic, Brazil, How to Kill a Mockingbird, Vesper after the Vesper Sparrow, Tell Me of the Bees, of the old adage saying of birds and the bees. So we have a few to look at, but we'll see how we go. And that is it for me this week. Tune in next week where we'll be looking at the opening of The Working Man, and more importantly for Disney, week 2 of Snow White. We will see how both of those track. No movies for me this week at the cinema because I'm cleaning my apartment for an inspection, so I'll be just looking at challenge movies and a few other projects that I'm working on as I clean my apartment. But I hope you guys go out and enjoy whatever's out there, such as Black Bag. I will keep re-endorsing. It's my favorite 2025 release so far this year. Granted, there hasn't been many in the way of hits, but it's something I do recommend. Anyway, that's it from me. I will see you again next week. Bye.